going on, collective? Welcome to my channel. It's your boy Adam Raw. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Guess what I got today? I'm gonna go through this really quick, but essentially I got hella notes, right? So essentially what happened was remember I was telling you about the spiritual warfare and stuff like that. Well, this is the other side, the other half of that brain, right? Because essentially what happens is when we go through spiritual warfare, because it derives from the mind first, or originates in the mind first, there's usually a left and a right brain affiliated with it, and then there's some kind of binding connection in the center, just like a brain or a mind. There's the left side that is imaginative, that conceives and plots and creates or perceives these illusionary things on one half of the plan, right? That one half of the plan, regardless if it's the entire group or half the group or whatever it may be, that's the left side that's a connection that each and every one in that group or that person or in that person of using the left mind. So basically when we plot, plan, and ploy against others, I believe it is the left brain. I'm not 100% sure, but let's just say for sake, it is the left brain, right? Well, when you come together with others, it is a synergetic connection of the left brain energy, right? Don't get me wrong, there is right brain energy that goes along with it. However, in order to think outside the box, you need that left-sided brain, typically speaking. Now, when it comes to execution of the plan and logicalizing it and trying to put it into fruition, that is the right side of the brain. So then the group or whomever, there's the execution aspect, right? And they're using the right side of the brain, which is the logical side, for the sake of this argument. Because honestly, it could be the left, or it could be reverse, okay, inverse of what I'm saying. So I say all of that to say this: in this spiritual warfare, the people who've been doing spell work against you or sent spiritual work towards you, this is their the profile. This is what's going to help you identify who's been doing, spiritual warfare against you, essentially, right? In the description box, I have two links, right? One is, the very first one is 1, and the second one is 2. But essentially, I found a book that describes perfectly it describes perfectly the profile of the culprits, or the people who are doing spell work against you or spiritual warfare against you, right? Now, I do have all of this written down, and I'm going to go through it real quick because I do still want to pull cards tonight. And I know a lot of times when I do videos like this without pulling cards, generally it doesn't get that many views, right? And I'm okay with that. I'm not here for the views, because my main thing is that this message get to the right person at the right time. That's it. That's the only thing I care about. It may be one person that needs to hear this, and I'm perfectly fine with that, right? Okay, so basically the name of the book is called Laws of Human Nature, and in that it was talking about these different personality traits and stuff like that. And I know that we were dealing with a lot of people who were envious of us. So the rest of the book is over there, so you can, and it's a review, so you don't have to read it. The guy goes through it and pretty much breaks everything down for you to listen on your own, right? But essentially, the part that I was taking, the things that I wanted to take away from that was, it was talking about all of these laws, and the first one was irrationality, right? So the people that you're possibly dealing with, there's some level of irrationality, right? They want to take you from your rational side into an irrational, into irrationality. Because when you are irrational, that puts, essentially, that pushes people away. That is a, you know, a tool of the narcissist, right? Not only do they you know, turn people against you, but they try to get you to act it in, you know, or well, what would be considered irrational ways. It could be rational considered the situation or circumstance, right? But outside of that circumstance or without that buildup, then guess what? It's considered irrational, right? First and foremost, you have and I'm gonna go through these real quick. You have the first is a confirmation bias. You have yeah, the best way to recognize this irrationality is through different biases and stuff like that. So you have confirmation bias. That's basically a bias in which you use what you basically use what you know to be true already, and you lean towards that because you already know that it's true. And then there's conviction bias, where it's like, you know, just because it's easy to accept, you accept it without looking into other details. Then you have appearance bias. Appearance bias generally has to do with just because it looks good, then it must be good. Then you have group bias, where in which a group, you know, the bias is based off of what everybody in a group believes. And then you have the blame bias. The blame bias is basically about, you know, you shifting the blame on someone else, essentially, is what's going on here. And then you have superiority bias. And superiority bias is basically blaming other people for things that went on, right? So essentially, why I brought this up is because these biases are aspects that the enemy will use against you, okay? They will use when they are talking with other people, or when they are in conversation with others, in order to convince them or bring them over to their side. They will use confirmation bias, right? Or try to lead people to believe confirmation bias, in which, you know, it's basically taking all things that they can confirm and disregarding what they cannot confirm. You see what I'm saying? Same thing with conviction, taking what is easily available to them without looking deeper into the circumstance situation. With appearance, making it look a certain kind of way so that it must mean that. A group bias, in which if multiple people believe in this, then it must be true. With blame bias, it's blaming you or trying to get you to feel as if it is your fault in some way, shape, or form that something is going the way that it's going. And then superiority bias, in which it's like, you know, pretty much the vibe that I'm getting. I know I looked at the book, I kind of skimmed through it and skimmed notes, but basically with superiority, that's the energy of just overall just you know, saying that, I guess it's kind of like, it's the energy of just pretty much just saying that this person, I mean, that they're in a better position than you. So let's say if you were like a business person, entrepreneur, and you're very successful, people siding with you because of what you have. You see what I'm saying? Superiority. Or people siding with you just because you're the boss. Or people siding with you just because of what you have or what you can bring, or what they think that they can get out of the situation with you. And then you have the inflamers. This is basically trigger points. You know what I'm saying? Essentially what you have here is things that would trigger your irrationality, right? Some of that is going to be things that happen in childhood. So some of these people, if they are triggered by you, it has something to do with their childhood. It'll have something to do with a sudden advantage or disadvantage that you may have in life. It may have something to do with pressure that they experience. Like, say if you're successful at something and they're not so successful, then guess what? You increase some kind of pressure on them. And then next you have instigators. These are people who will try to pretty much just try to start some shit, basically, just because they know that you're doing well in life and they don't have anything else to do. And then you have group, where it's like maybe one or two people might voice their opinion about how they don't like it. But remember, I was telling you that spirits are communal. That spiritual energy is communal. And this book is actually, well, this right here, this group, Inflame or whatever, is definitely confirmation that what I was saying was true, right? Because remember, I said that spirits are communal. When you hang around people who are doing well, you have a tendency to do better, right? Same thing if the group is doing worse. So who you affiliate with, ultimately, it has an effect on where you're heading or where you're navigating, right? Well, that energy from that group in itself could also be a triggering point, because it could trigger one or two people in there, and then all of a sudden that they could use a bias against you or something like that, and that could like expand, like that envious energy could spread throughout the entire group. The book was talking about strategies against that. So if you are dealing with any of that, definitely check out that book, right? I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna do the key ones that I want to touch up on. And this has to do with the personalities of the people who's doing spiritual work against you, and those who hired it against you, right? So you have the narcissism energy, law of narcissism, right? The narcissist, generally, you have a spectrum. Narcissism is on a spectrum. The deeper side of narcissism, these are people who will do anything for attention. They crave attention. They need attention. They'll do whatever it takes to get that attention, even if it is to do something rebellious or something in a shockful way, right? Then you have the functional narcissist. This isn't a person who, they crave attention, but it's not out of the ordinary, you know what I mean? It's not on a deep level like the deep narcissist here. This is something that we would consider more healthy, you know what I mean? Where it's like, you like if you drew something, and yeah, you do kind of want to get noticed. You don't want to just be, ignored. And then you have the empathy, or the empathetic side of it, where it's just, you're not thinking about your others. You're also you're thinking about others and not just yourself, right? Let me see here. There are levels of empathy as well. Well, there's strategies against narcissism. Yeah, there's strategies. If you feel like that you have some form of narcissism, this book actually breaks down ways to, evaluate and do audits against that. So definitely, like I say, it's a good thing to check out. Then you have types of narcissists. You have those who are complete control. They are very hypersensitive. They will listen a lot, but they don't tell or share anything about themselves. Essentially, they don't open up to people because they are a sponge, soaking up strengths and weaknesses of other people so that they may be able to use them according to their virtue, or what they excel, or what they feel that person could do for them. It's more like what that person could do for them. And then we have the theatrical one. This is someone who does the role exchange. A theatrical narcissist has a way of changing and shifting their roles around. Like, if they need something out of you, of course, they're going to be exceptionally nice. If they need to appear, it's all about appearance. That's, you know what I'm saying? It's like they shift their appearance according to what they need and from whom. Okay, so they're always doing role exchanging. They're always one day they're this way, the next day they're another way. This has to do a lot with let's see, with the role exchange. This has a lot to do with pretty much that two-faced energy here. This is what we say when we say two-faced and stuff like that. That is what that is. And then you have the healthy narcissist, like I was saying. They generally read cues and pick up on cues really well, and read people energy as well, because essentially that's what a narcissist do. A part of narcissism is being able to pick up on people's cues and things like that and use it to your advantage. However, there are those who pick up on those cues and they use it to their advantage to lead others to better themselves. Okay. You also, let's see, we got compulsive behavior. Has to do with character. Okay, so this is an aspect when it comes to spiritual warfare. I'd have noticed that I did have attacks on my character, but essentially with this, when it comes to projection, especially with projecting energies and stuff like that, this here talks about the toxic character types. Okay, so if the person who hired spell work against you or is doing spell work against you has been projecting their energy onto you, you may adopt one of these traits here. Whereas like hyper perfectionist, this is a control freak who everything has to be a certain kind of way. You know what I mean? Also, there's the rebel. This person is kind of childish. They rebel essentially just to rebel or for attention, basically, right? And then you have the personalizer. This is somebody who takes everything personal, and not only that, they make you feel guilty or because they're sensitive about things that you say about them. You know what I'm saying? You might tell them the truth, but since they're so sensitive to the truth or can't handle the truth, they make you feel guilty for the things that you tell them or say to them. So no matter what you say or how you say it, they're going to take it personal. Excuse me. And thus, and we see that a lot with Karens, with a lot of Karens out here, and not just Karens, because I don't want to make it seem one-sided, but there's a lot of videos of floating on YouTube. We've seen this in public all the time, where people like what one person is saying is completely logical and legit, and the other person is just just wild. Okay, not gonna get into that. Drama magnet. Then you have the drama magnet. This is somebody who magnetize drama. They are surrounded by drama. They create drama. They live in drama. It's like this toxic character it's pretty much they use